Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dig into the absolutely game-changing ideas from James Clear's huge bestseller, Atomic Habits. We're going to find out why these tiny, almost invisible changes can lead to some seriously remarkable results, and how you can build a system that makes you just 1% better every single day. All right, let's just dive right in. To really get a feel for the power of these tiny improvements, we have to start with the story. And honestly, it sounds like something straight out of a movie. It's the story of the author James Clear himself, and it perfectly sets the stage for this first big idea. So picture this. On the last day of his sophomore year of high school, James Clear takes a baseball bat square to the face. The injury was, it was catastrophic. We're talking a broken nose, multiple skull fractures, a dislocated eye. It was bad. His recovery was painfully slow, starting with something as basic as just trying to walk in a straight line. But this is where it gets interesting. Instead of focusing on some huge goal, he just focused on these tiny, manageable habits. Things like going to bed on time every night, or keeping his room tidy. These small wins gave him a sense of control when everything else was chaos, and that feeling, well, it compounded over years into the unbelievable success you see right here. Now, this whole idea isn't just for one person's comeback story. Oh no, it scales up to the highest levels of competition. Just take a look at British cycling. For 100 years, these guys were the definition of mediocre. Their performance was so bad that one top bike company literally refused to sell them equipment. They were worried it would hurt their brand if other pros saw the British team using their gear. But then, a new performance director came in with an idea that sounded almost too simple. And that idea was called the aggregation of marginal gains. It's a fancy way of saying they started searching for a tiny 1% improvement in absolutely everything they did. And I mean everything. They redesigned bike seats to be more comfortable. They tested different massage gels to see which one helped muscles recover faster. They even painted the inside of their team truck white, just so they could spot tiny bits of dust that might mess with the finely tuned bikes. It sounds almost obsessive, right? But the results? They were absolutely staggering. Within 5 years, they were just dominating the sport. Okay, so if this 1% rule is so powerful, why don't we see results right away? This, right here, is the killer. This is where most of us just give up. We expect our progress to look like a nice, straight line going up. But in the real world, the most powerful results are always delayed. And Clear has a brilliant name for this phenomenon, the plateau of latent potential. Let me walk you through this with a perfect analogy from the book. I want you to imagine there's an ice cube sitting on a table in front of you. The room is cold, but it's slowly warming up. It goes from 25 degrees to 26, then 27, all the way up to 29 degrees. You're putting in the work, you're raising the temperature, but from the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. And the temperature keeps ticking up, 30 degrees, 31 degrees, and still, it's just a solid block of ice. This is that super frustrating moment, isn't it? You're doing the work, you're showing up, but you're not seeing any changes. And you start thinking, is any of this even worth it? Is it even working? And then, you hit 32 degrees, breakthrough. The ice finally starts to melt. Now here's the key. That final 1 degree shift didn't do all the work. It just unlocked all the potential that was built up by all the previous degrees. And your habits work the exact same way. All that effort is never wasted, it's just being stored. This idea is so powerful. Get this, the San Antonio Spurs, one of the most successful sports dynasties ever, have this exact quote hanging in their locker room. It's the same principle as the ice cube, right? It wasn't the last hit that broke the rock. It was all the hits that came before it. True mastery, it just requires patience. Okay, so now that we get the why behind these tiny habits, let's talk about the how. Let's get practical. One of the most fascinating points in the book is that winners and losers, they often have the exact same goals. The difference isn't the goal. It's the system they use to get there. So the real question is, how do we design a better system for ourselves? Well, one of the most powerful strategies is called habit stacking. It's so simple, it's brilliant. You don't have to invent motivation out of thin air. You just latch a new behavior onto one you already do. The formula couldn't be easier. After I do my current habit, I will do my new habit. For instance, after I pour my cup of coffee in the morning, I will meditate for 1 minute. Easy. Here's another great tool for your toolbox, temptation bundling. This is all about making your habits more attractive. All you do is you pair something you want to do with something you need to do. The classic example is you only let yourself watch your favorite show on Netflix while you're on the exercise bike. Suddenly, you're not dreading the workout. You're actually looking forward to it. Okay, so you've designed this awesome new system, but now comes the real challenge, right? The part that trips up almost everyone, staying consistent. Because a perfect system is totally useless if you don't actually stick with it. So let's look at a couple of brilliant ways to do that. What in the world could this number possibly mean? Well, for a young stockbroker named Trent Dursmid, this number was the key to his entire career. Dyersmid used what's now called the paper-clip strategy. It's a super simple visual way to track your progress. Every morning, he'd start with 2 jars on his desk. One was filled with 120 paper clips, the other was empty. After every single sales call he made, he'd move 1 paper clip from the full jar to the empty one. His job wasn't done until all 120 clips were moved. That tangible visual proof of his effort was so motivating that within 18 months, he was bringing in $5 million for his firm. You know, it's the exact same principle that the legendary comedian Jerry Seinfeld uses for writing jokes. He gets a big wall calendar, and every day he sits down to write, he puts a big red X over that day. After just a few days, you've got a chain. And that chain, that visual proof of your streak, becomes the motivation. And your only job becomes beautifully simple. Don't break the chain. So let's bring this all home with what I think is the most profound, most powerful idea in this entire book. This isn't just about achieving goals. It's about becoming the person you actually want to be. Your habits don't just get you results. They literally forge your identity. Every action you take is like a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Think about it like this. Your outcomes in life are just a lagging measure of your habits. Your net worth right now, that's a lagging measure of your financial habits. Your current weight, a lagging measure of your eating habits. Now, that might sound harsh, but it's actually the most empowering idea in the world because it means your future isn't fixed. You can change it, starting right now by building a better system today. And that really just leaves us with one final big question to reflect on. Every single day, your habits are compounding. They're building on themselves. The only question is, are they compounding for you or are they compounding against you? That power of 1% is always at work. The only question is, which direction is it taking you?